Well, from the city of Tshwane, very good evening and welcome to our second debate in this series. You're watching the SABC. Well, tonight we're coming to you from the city of Tshwane. A lot has been said, a lot has been written about this capital city. Is it going to stay with the ANC? Is it going to go to another party or coalition of parties? That is what we will be looking at this evening. Let's welcome our panelists who will be helping us understand the issues in this municipality better. Starting with the ANC's Kgosientso Ramokgopa. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, Bravo. Thank you very much.
And Mr. Anton Alberts is, of course, from the FF+. Welcome to you too, sir. Mr. Ndlozi is from the EFF. And of course, last but not least, we do have Mr. Msimanga from the Democratic Alliance. Welcome to you too, sir. Perhaps just to give a bit of context as to why some people seem to think that things may change in this city this time around. If you look at the results of the 2011 local government election, this was, of course, the picture. The ANC with 55.32% of the seats, followed, of course, by the DA with 38.65% of the seats, followed, of course, by the FF+ with 1.66% of the seats. Now, the figure you are seeing here in yellow, this is how the EFF fared in the 2014 election in this metro. Since, they will be, obviously, as everyone knows, they will be contesting the local government election for the very first time. That, in a nutshell, is just how the seats were allocated in 2011, with the rest of the parties getting under 1%, and those are the parties that we are talking about. Now, the question perhaps the leaders here will be answering is what is wrong in this metro, what is working, and how do they hope or promise to correct the wrongs, and how do they ensure that those things that are right, we actually do more of. Battlegrounds 2016 is the debate you're watching, whether you are on SABC 1 or SABC News Channel 404. I'm going to start with you, Mr. Msimanga. What does your manifesto say about where the DA would like to take the city of Tshwane?
Thank you very much, Voyo. Look, the DA is promising 6 things. 1, we're promising a clean government that is corruption-free. 2, we're promising service delivery that will take priority. 3, we are promising a business centers municipality that will ensure that the Nyaope children that we see all over the streets eventually find themselves employed in a meaningful manner. But 4, we want to make sure that this city is also attractive to international government, to international companies as well that would want to come and invest in South Africa. So those are things that we want to do. We want to also make sure that a local government is also responsive to people's needs. As we have seen here, people in Hammanskraal have been complaining over and over again. We are tired of drinking dirty water. People of Grasfontein have been complaining over and over again. Why should we spend 2 weeks without having water because of unmaintained pipes? The people of Pumulong and Mamelodi have been talking to us and have been saying what is going to happen to us because we kept being moved from one area to another. When are we going to be treated as human? And when this apartheid style of government going to stop so that we can be treated as dignified human beings? Those are the things that the people have been telling us. But over and above that, we are saying infrastructure. should take priority, because if you're not going to maintain your infrastructure, you're not going to be able to attract investment. So those are the things that we are saying we want to bring into this city. We want to make sure that corruption, like the PEU contract that took over this city, never happens again. That way, we can ensure that we break the backbone of apartheid and giving the people the dignity they deserve.
Mr. Ndlozi?
Thank you very much. The point of departure is obviously to point a proper picture of the city. This city has 37% of its population is young people, making Tshwane one of the youngest cities in the world. 112,167 people live in shacks in the city. 22% of the population do not have proper sanitation. 13% do not have piped water. 24% still live or use the buckets or the pit system in terms of their toilets. Now, with a 24% unemployment rate, which is rising not only in this city but also nationally, the EFF municipality is definitely going to would begin firstly as a point of departure to make sure that we provide quality health care, clinics across the wards, but also that operate 7 days, 24 hours a day. Because clinics, our people don't get sick during the day only. Our people don't get sick between 9 and 5 only. They get sick particularly at night. That will decrease the population or the overpopulation of hospitals that are supposed to take care of advanced diseases. We're going to make sure that we build internal state capacity to do away with the tendering system, because it is responsible for the nepotism, for corruption, and for the type of bulamatahari activities that are happening in this city. So when you build internal state capacity, you make sure that the people who build roads, the people who maintain roads, the people who pick up rubbish across the townships and across the cities are employed on full-term contract and they work for the city. Not the precarious labor contracts, but they know that they've got permanent jobs. They don't only build roads, but they maintain them. They maintain the parks and so on and so forth. They will all be employed by the city. They are on permanent contract. They know I've got a wages that is coming in for the next 5 or 10 years. They are able to have buying power. They are able to approach even the creditors for a conversation about bettering their lives. Finally, we are going to make sure that when you do business inside the township, you buy firstly from the local businesses. For an example, if Pick n Pay goes into Garankuwa and opens an outlet there, it must first buy the chicken that it sells from the chicken farmers in Garankuwa. We're going to pass a law. We're going to make sure that that is by law. Before you make business, before you give contracts as the city to anybody else from KZN, from other parts of Gauteng, you've got to prioritize the people of Tshwane. That is internal capacity of the government. And finally, we're going to expropriate land. The people in Mamelodi, the people in Soshanguve, they use graves. They bury people on top of people. We are afraid to expropriate land that is owned by many white people in this city, and they're doing nothing about it. We're going to expropriate land to give to our people for residential settlement and for proper usage of burial sites. Thank you.
Albert?
The central problem of governance in Pretoria is the ANC. And because of the centralization of power by the ANC, we say, let's devolve power down to the communities. Let's create sub-councils in Mamelodi, in Centurion, and wherever people want it. They don't have to come into the cesspool of a town. Have you seen what this town looks like? They have to come to the cesspool of a town and ask for their problems to be solved. No, the people can then go to their own towns where they live, close by, and then they can get a good governance from there. But the pre-requirement for that is good government. That means people appointed on merit, not because they are a card-carrying party member or a cadre, people who can do the job and deliver services for everyone. And then we must also fight corruption. That also means a change in government, because in 21 years, we've only seen corruption getting worse and worse across this country and in Pretoria principally as well. Also, crime. People don't talk about crime because they don't go to the police anymore. They don't trust the police. So what do we do now? We're saying when we get into power in a coalition, we will ensure that the Metro Police stop writing speeding tickets for people and start patrolling the metros, and the suburbs where the people live and make them safer. We're also going to look at tax breaks to get the economy going. We're going to give tax breaks for those who are too old to work, the pensioners, and for small businesses, so that we can start getting the economy going in this town. Because at the moment, it is going backwards. People are hopeless. You must see the people begging next to the roads. When they come to your window, they are on tatters. It is pathetic. Today, I had to buy a black man lunch standing in the streets. And why is that the case? Because this government, this current government, does not care. And if they did, they wouldn't drive in their smart cars. They would actually be out there helping the people. So we will, as part of the coalition, as part of one of the bigger parties in this town that will grow, we will then make those changes for everyone, not based on the color of your skin, not on which party you belong to, but purely on the basis of being a good government.
Well, let me start by... No, thank you very much. Let me start by making the point that we are not imagining what we are going to do. Many of the things that they suggest that they are going to do are already happening in the city. For starters, we are not talking about Pretoria, we are talking about Tshwane. So I think it's about time that we are
Pretoria still exists.
Yeah. So that's the
You
first
must wake
part.
up. Pretoria still exists. And that, well, it won't get you any votes to fight Pretoria. The people are hungry.
Salam to speak, please.
Well, that's he's exposing the degree of intolerance and the resistance to transformation.
While people are hungry.
We are going to transform this country. The second one is that Mr. Msima makes the point about attracting investment. Already as I speak to you, BMW in Roslyn has committed to expand its plant by 6 billion rands to make sure that we increase employment opportunities. The second part is that Nissan has also made the commitment to create 1,500 employment opportunities through an injection of 2 billion rands. The total amount of investments that we have attracted in this city in the current political term of office far surpasses our projections. It's sitting at 8.1 billion. Let me come to the assertions of Mr. Ndlozi. He makes the point that the population in Tshwane is 67% of it is 35 years and younger. In fact, the precise number is that 66% of the population is 35 years and younger. So I'm just saying it speaks to the sources of our information. And he makes the point that they are going to initiate intervention to resolve challenges of young people. Well, we're already doing it as I speak to you. We have initiated the Tsepo 10,000 program, which is targeted at young people between the age group of 21 and 35 years of age. This program matured about 8 months ago. As I speak to you, the total value of the contracts that sits with young people is close to 500 million rand. 500 million rand is in the hands of young people. Mr. Ndlozi makes the point that they are going to reindustrialize townships. This is the assertion of the Premier. Just a year ago, we opened a bakery in Soshanguve that is benefiting young people, is benefiting the local community, is going to provide to the local hospitals government services. About last week, we opened a plastic manufacturing factory. We are spending about 15 million rands per annum buying waste plastic bags to provide to the informal settlements. So we're already creating these assets to make sure that we resolve the challenges of our people going forward. My neighbor here makes the point that we should fight crime. Indeed, we are fighting crime. How are we doing it?
Where?
We have graduated 10,000 Metro Police officers. We'll be deploying, we already started deploying 10 per ward, and make sure that we use existing technology platform so that we are able to address the issues around crime. He makes the point about decentralization, saying we must create substructures. We already have this in this city.
Where?
We have demarcated the city into 7 administrative regions, and that's where services are taking place closer to the
They're
people.
not sub-councils.
So the commitment we are making to our people is that we are going to accelerate on this agenda, make sure that the issues that Mr. Ndlozi was raising, that the penetration of basic services gets to expand. When we assumed office, only 65% of our people had access to waterborne sanitation. Today, as I speak to you, we are over 90%. When we assumed office, only 79% of our people had access to clean potable water. As I speak to you now, we are sitting at 91%. So we are not imagining things. These are things that we are doing so that we are able to reconfigure, de-racialize, and ensure that there's cohesion in this space, and ensure that we are able to place this city on a different pedestal. So they are not saying anything new. We are simply going to accelerate and make sure that we improve the quality of life of our people and restore their dignity going forward.
We'll find out why they are disagreeing with you. We're going to take a quick break. This debate continues right after this.
Why are electoral systems important in a democracy?
We think of democracy as voting people into office. The other side of the coin is that we would be more empowered and more accountable in politics if we could do the opposite, is vote them out when they don't deliver.
Politics is about who gets what, when and how.
If you look up on the internet as to how the head of state is chosen, it says monarchy.
We should not refer to an election as a contest.
So we should not shy away from the fact that an election is a contest. Of course, I do admit that it's not a bloody contest, or it shouldn't be a bloody contest.
It shouldn't be a
whereby
bloody
people,
contest.
Fight and, of course, and
It should
killing
also
each
not
other.
be a
But
beauty contest.
Then it shouldn't be also a beauty contest either.
Swiss people, for example, can travel internationally with a cantonal passport, not even a national one. That's like us traveling on a Free State passport, for example.
Another person has been shot dead and another is in a critical condition in hospital.
The CRL has laid charges against controversial televangelist Paseka Motsoeneng.
More than 1.3 million South Africans have been added in the past two registration weekends.
The International Monetary Fund warns that policy uncertainty could dampen economic growth in South Africa.
And all eyes are on the new Bok coach, Alistair Kgosientso. He's challenged to keep everyone in the country happy.
Welcome back, and if you've just joined us, you're watching Battlegrounds 2016. We are going across the country as the SABC, listening to communities, listening to what they have to say, but talking to their leaders about what they are doing to address the issues that people on the ground are raising. Tonight, our focus is on the capital city, the city of Tshwane. Now, I noticed that all of you, as the mayor was speaking, were either shaking your hands and really quick to really, I suppose, punch holes.
Yeah. Vuyo, let me start off by saying that the mayor is very selective. Let me tell you, BMW could have invested years ago, right? It's the bureaucracy from them that has been preventing the investment that have been coming along. In the state of the city address, he's bragging about the investment in the east as well. Those are the people that have approached us as saying the red tape is making it impossible for us to progress. So they've been saying, we've been wanting to invest. But what is also not telling is that in the first quarter, of this year, Tshwane has lost 40,000 jobs. Whereas where we govern in the city of Cape Town, we've created 4,000 new jobs. Let's talk about the investment in infrastructure. The city of Tshwane is only spending 300 million in terms of road infrastructure. Where we govern, we spend in excess of 3 billion rand in terms of access to investment.
Well, let's get him to respond.
Well, I don't know. I'm sure when he says where they govern, he's referring to Cape Town. This is
And
the other
Midvaal as
detail.
well.
This is the detail. It doesn't tell you about the geographic location of their capex. is that when you come to the city of Tshwane, by the way, over a 5-year period, we have rolled out capital investment of 14.9 billion rands. 89% of that investment is in the poor areas. Juxtapose that with Cape Town, they are reinforcing the apartheid status quo. The majority of the money is spent in the affluent areas. So that's a distinction. The second part, he makes a claim that the people of Main Lane, Roslyn would have approached them. They are not in government, they are not in a position to make these decisions. We have engaged Main Lane. The reason why the casino license is relocated this side is because of the investment initiatives, incentives that we are providing. We are providing for rates holidays, tax holidays. We are foregoing income. Remember, we are not in the business of banking money, putting money in the bank. We are in the business of qualitatively transforming the lives of our people through creation of decent employment, job opportunities. Remember that my neighbor here talks about buying lunch for a black person. We are talking about creating decent employment opportunities for everyone, in particular.
For card-carrying members of the ANC only. Talk about that. Why is it only for card-carrying members of the ANC? Why is it only the card-carrying members of the ANC that are benefiting? Tell us about that, Mr. Mayor.
When he makes the claim, Mr. Msimanga makes the claim that it's only people of a particular political orientation.
Yes, that benefit. That is true.
I've thrown the challenge at him that don't just make these claims on national television, don't make the claims on radio. Go to the public protector, go to the law enforcement agencies. Poverty does not know color. Poverty does not know political affiliation. And that's why we are empowering everyone. That is why our EPWP program has been rated the best performing EPWP program in the country. We have created over 52,000 employment opportunities, and you can't argue that those are ANC people. These are people who need interventions, and the ANC is making that.
The reality is, the celebration, I'm not interested because the figures that you keep throwing, where are they? Because unemployment has risen.
Yes.
That is the reality. Unemployment has risen. You throw 11,000 jobs, 2,000 jobs. Unemployment has risen. What is a decent job? EPWP is not a decent job. It's not a decent job. A decent job, the definition of a decent job that we must begin to speak in dignity about is a permanent contract where you are able to know for the next 10 years I am employed to collect rubbish, or I'm employed to build and maintain roads, and I'm able to have a sustainable income, a quality income with a improved wage that goes up as the inflation goes up. That is a decent job. EPWP, we can't come here and celebrate EPWP. But be that as it may, it is a fact that EPWP jobs are exchanged for two things. One, councillors of the ANC give EPWP in exchange for sex. Councillors of the ANC give EPWP in exchange for bribes. But they also check membership cards of the ANC. So I can't celebrate EPWPs. Now, it's a cosmetic, these are cosmetic investments that the mayor unfortunately is celebrating. He's celebrating them amongst a real rising unemployment. Now, I'm going to show you why. It's because it's not about getting young people out there and putting them into a bakery. You may be taking people who are not interested in the bakery. There is an informal economy in Tshwane that employs, according to statistics, more than 100,000 people. The point of an economic activity is to link existing, passionate entrepreneurs that are already doing those jobs. If Pep Store sets up a shop in Soshanguve, tell Pep Store, before you buy the blankets from China, there are people, Barukangi Kubu, Kara Soshanguve, buy from them first. That gives an already passionate entrepreneur a capacity to expand. Don't go build a bakery. Identify who has been doing that activity inside the township, because that's how he's going to eat as the mayor. That is how he's going to get corruption. That is how he's going to get his own people to eat. But he's going to build a bakery, he's needing city power and city property in the inner cities to raise rates and taxes twice. And our people can't survive inside the cities. Half of the buildings inside the city are ran by city property. Why? They've been outsourced. Electricity and water rates are being outsourced inside the city. The municipality is supposed to run those activities. It's supposed to make sure that the burden on the poor inside and outside the city is reduced. Finally, the old pensions in the cities, their electricity is being switched off because they owe rates and taxes. That's the type of a city these people are running. We are planning to run a people-centered city, and the people, the majority of the people in this city are firstly black, and secondly, they are poor.
Okay,
You've
before I
got to run
ask you
a poor
to respond
city.
directly to what he
Cheaper
said,
rates
I just want-
and taxes, particularly for the poor.
Let me make the point. Let's clarify these misconceptions. Way ahead of the movement outsourcing must fall, in the city of Tshwane, we had already absorbed 5,203 employees into the ranks of the city at a cost of 400 million rand. That's the decent jobs that I'm talking about. He's making a claim that we are taking people who are not interested in a particular sector and creating assets for them. These young people that I'm talking of in Soshanguve have been involved in confectionery, have been involved in community baking. What the city simply does is to create an asset and make sure that they are able to participate in that space. He goes further. Well, I guess, Vuyo, that the truth is very painful to take. So the point is the following. He makes the point that we have outsourced housing and residentialization in the CBD. One is that we have introduced a policy that deals away with gentrification, the geographic displacement of the poor into the periphery as a result of increased investment. We are now, as I speak to you, we are constructing the biggest social housing program ever experienced in this city, bang in the middle of the city. Next to Schubert Park, there's a building that is rising to show our commitment to ensuring that the city space,
That is not true.
centers of economic production are not only centers of privilege, but we get to deracialize. We are bringing the people out from the periphery into the CBD.
That's a neoliberal conception of city space management. The city is being reserved essentially for the rich. He's kicking the poor outside the city. He's kicking the poor outside the city. You are kicking the poor outside the city, and you think you are deracializing.
I'm going to come back
That
to you,
is the
Mr.
poorest
Alberts.
of intellectualization about city planning
Gentlemen,
and
please.
spatial planning that I have ever heard. There is no single black person that lives in the city in Tshwane who is happy about the price that they pay for rates and taxes, particularly on city property-owned buildings.
Okay, gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to hold your thoughts right there. We're going to take a quick break. This debate continues right after this.
There are no permanent enemies or friends in politics.
I agree with Professor Siete fully. Do people still preserve the meaning?
They have no clue what it meant to be black under apartheid
Acting Police Commissioner Phahlane dropped a bombshell in Parliament this week when he suggested there could be a possible cover-up. What do you think of this story? What kind of problems were those, Vu, if I can just get in there quickly?
Every corner or sphere of our lives has become a site of struggle.
Watch Media Monitor with me, Alicia Jali, Sundays at 9 a.m. only on the SABC News Channel.
Welcome back, and if you just joined us watching Battlegrounds 2016, we are focusing tonight on the city of Tshwane. If I may come back to you, Mr. Alberts, I want us to talk solutions now.
The mayor says that they believe in devolution of power, but the law allows you to create sub-councils, and they have not done it. They've created an executive mayorship, which means they don't really believe in devolution because they have not used the power of the law to the fullest of extent. And one wonder why. I know they like to centralize power. That's exactly why they have not used the law to bring the power and executive functions of the city down to where the people live. That's the first thing. When the mayor talks about the investments by BMW, it's quite disingenuous to say that Tshwane government organized that. It's not Tshwane government. It was actually done on national level. Tshwane had very little to do with that at all. I know that because I sit on the Trade and Industry Committee in Parliament, and I deal with Minister Davies. And the reason why BMW and those car manufacturers are extending their contracts and investing more is because they're in so deep they can't get out. That's the only reason. So there's a certain momentum there. Then the mayor talks about investment in Menlyn based on starting a casino. Now, I'm sorry, a casino is not business. It's not investment. It creates lots of social ills around it. We need to see real investment. For instance, what we would like to see is that the city of Tshwane and Pretoria actually gets off the Eskom power grids and starts generating its own power. Now that will create jobs. Starting your own power generation capacity on wind and sunlight and get off the Eskom grid so that we won't have power failures here in the city. So the mayor is quite disingenuous in telling us what they have done for the last 21 years, but we see not really much has happened. If we look at the 14.9 billion rand, I don't know where that is. I don't know where that has taken place. Then the mayor says he cares about the people. He's running the city on behalf of everyone. But, you know, I've got here an application form for people who wants to take on jobs in the city of Tshwane. And it actually has blacked out certain of the racial groups. It says everybody can apply for a position except Indian females, white males, and white females. So how can he run the city on behalf of everyone if they are not allowed to apply? Now, let me put it to you straight. It's illegal what they are doing. If you look at the same advertisement in the government gazette, the National Government Gazette, none of the racial groups are erased. Everybody can apply for those jobs, but not in Tshwane, no, because they don't care about everyone. What about all the white people living in squatter camps in the west of Pretoria? We are saying, as the Freedom Front Plus, that we will make sure that the money goes everywhere. It doesn't matter whether you're white, you're black, you're Indian, or Chinese, or whatever background you have. We will make sure in a coalition government that there's no corruption and the money goes everywhere for job creation on behalf of the people who lives in the city, and we will clean up the city, unlike the ANC has done for 21 years, who's done virtually nothing.
Well,
are there jobs that people are barred from applying for?
Let me make the following point, is that if you look at Stats SA, they indicate that Tshwane's economy has been the most resilient of all metro economies in the country, growing at a rate far exceeding the national average, growing at 2.4%. So that's the first part. The second part is that he makes a claim that when these multinationals make investment It's free of the investment opportunities that exist in a municipal space. In fact, it's a vote of confidence on the political principles of this city because they will not risk their money and invest it in an area of instability, invest it in an area where they are going to maximize, they are not going to maximize their return. So it's a function of their returns, it's a function of municipal governance. And then he raises issues around the green economy. We are the leading city with regards to green interventions. Part of the reason why BMW has made a consideration to come this side is that we've got a bio-to-water agreement to make sure that 30% of their base load in Roslyn is indeed generated from renewable energy. That's the first project in this country where there's public sector, private sector collaboration to demonstrate how we can use renewable energy to drive down the cost of doing business going forward. And that's why now when we roll out our BRT, the bus rapid transport system, 30% of the BRT will be propelled by compressed natural gas. So indeed, we are going green. And then let me make this, he makes startling claims. He makes startling claims about creating opportunities for black people. Let me make the following point, is that we are committed to creating a city that belongs to all. But we must undo the legacy of apartheid. And the majority of black people have been excluded in the mainstream economy. That there have been sectors, there have been skills, there have been departments that have been an exclusive terrain of people of a particular color. Young people, black, have gone to school, they have accumulated the requisite skills. So it's about time that a democratic government gives them opportunities so that they are able to apply themselves. And this is the work that
I want to ask the two of you.
All right, Boya, let me respond. Let me respond this way.
I want to ask the two of you. I want to say, forget about the ANC for a second. Forget what the ANC says or has or hasn't done.
Right.
You've been the official opposition in this city for a while now.
Right.
You've looked at what the ANC has been able to do or hasn't been able to do.
Right.
What are you putting on the table as the democratic alliance? And I'm going to ask the same question to you, Mr. Ndlozi. Having seen what the ANC has been able to do or not do, having seen what the opposition, whether the opposition has been able to rise to the occasion, what is it that the EFF is putting on the table?
Thank you very much, Voyo. You know,
we're talking about jobs specifically.
Being a government, being a party in government, 9 out of 10 best municipalities run in the country are DA municipalities. Let's get that one very clear. Number 2, the greatest employment opportunities and the increasing level of employment is happening in DA-run municipalities. Not far from here, go to Midvaal. You'll see what I'm talking about. We have the lowest unemployment levels of all the municipalities in Gauteng.
How would you do it in Tshwane?
How will we do it in Tshwane? Is simple. Tshwane is very unique that it has a number of industrial sites which are now falling apart. I want you to go to Babelegi. I want you to go to Ekandastria. I want you to come here to the west of Pretoria, even here behind us in Isco. What has happened is that this government has let all this infrastructure to go to waste and it's falling apart. Instead of renovating it and declaring them as special tax zones which will attract investment into the city. That is what we're going to do, to make sure that not only are we able to make our young people employed, but we will also make sure that we turn this city into a production city. What we want to do is to make sure that the farms that are surrounding this town of ours, I mean 50 kilometer radius of the city, you have farms. What are we doing to make sure that we become a processing city? What are we doing to make sure that the carrots that are taken out of farms that are coming here can be processed, frozen, clean, packaged, and taken out? What are we doing to make sure that the young people who have ideas in the townships, not card-carrying members of the ANC, will still be able to benefit? Those are things that we're going to be looking at. But let me talk to you, last point. Our EPWP program, that the mayor is talking about it being the best. Let me tell you about the best EPWP program, and that is what the Western Cape is rolling out. We are making sure that in the EPWP project, there's no government, there's no political manipulation that is taking place there, number 1. Number 2, we're making sure that those people that are going through the EPW program also get some training and upskilling. By the end of the day, they come out with qualifications. That's the best EPW program.
The biggest colonial, apartheid, white supremacist thing that the ANC government has protected is the land. You do nothing to the undoing or to the privilege of colonial and apartheid unless you touch the land. So if the mayor thinks that he's going to transform the city in the interests of a democratic, non-racial society, he's got to touch the land. And they've done nothing to do that. The EFF's point of departure is that we're going to expropriate land without compensation. Why are we going to do that? For the same reasons that the mayor is saying he's trying to win our neighbor here to believe in a post-democratic, in a post-apartheid society. That is, land was an activity which was stolen through guns. It was stolen through a crime against humanity. That is why black people live. They are the majority in the city. They live in small yards. They live in spaceless spaces, in absolute proximity to pigs, rats, and rubbish. Why? Because we are afraid to take back the land. They now bury their loved ones on top of each other. They are reusing the graves. Why? Because they are afraid of taking back the land. We will make no apology to take back the land for our people. 2. The final most significant thing about the EFF that we are going to do in relation to jobs. We're not going to promise black people EPWP. Those are temporal jobs that are not permanent, that take nobody anywhere. For the last 21 years, that's the chance the ANC has got. For the last 21 years, they've been unable to shift property ownership. They've been unable to shift the control of the economy. 21 years. He must not tell us what they're going to do to shift that. Unemployment has risen. It's a fact. So, what is it that you do to undo this unemployment question and industrial activity to go to the townships? You've got to force all the white monopoly-run businesses to do business with the informal economy in the townships, which, by the way, is there. The Pick and Pays, the shop rides. I mean, think about the amount of chicken we eat in the townships. We eat it in KFC, in Nando's, in Spare, in Pick and Pay, in shop ride. All the chicken farmers inside the township must be their priority in relation to buying that chicken. That is the same with textile, that is the same with all the farming activities. That activity is already there. I don't have to go and create it. If the mayor says he's going to go and open, like he spent 2 million rands or more to open a car wash. No, don't open a car wash of the municipality because that's how he eats. Give that to the young people to own it themselves, to run it themselves. Don't go open a municipally run bakery. Go and identify people who are doing bakery out there. Because if it's him that opens it, he's gonna eat. That is how he eats.
Gentlemen, we're gonna take another quick ad break. This debate, of course, continues on the other side of this.
I'm ready to make the switch.
We're live, and Temba just made the switch to Hansel Pilsner. Why the switch?
Oh, it's a Pilsner.
It's a Pilsner.
I like to thank my friends. Woo!
Temba, what makes it so different to other beers?
Well, it's crisper and more refreshing. Try one.
Wow, super refreshing. One is your big Pilsner switch.
Refreshment only a Pilsner can bring.
In Africa, technology has created many new ways of doing things.
ICT is an increasingly important part of everybody's life.
It's being used in education, for social media, and now for farming too.
The best thing about internet for a farmer is that you get to share information.
On Network, we give you all the important African technology and social media news. That's Network with me, Spumelele Zondi, every Sunday at 7:30 p.m. Central African Time, only on SABC News.
Welcome back, and if you've just joined us, you're watching a debate in the city of Tshwane, talking about where this city is going, what it is that the respective political parties are promising to do to deal with whatever challenges this part of our country faces. Gentlemen, before I ask you to very briefly take us through make your concluding remarks, I want to ask you this. Is there anything that is working in the city that which, if you were to get into power, you would do more of or do even better?
Well, Vuyo, there is a number of things. I think we need to acknowledge that. The Wi-Fi that the mayor is talking about is something that is there. But the problem with it is that it's a duplication of what the province is already doing. So what we'll do is to leverage on what province has already started doing, and we'll do more of that. What we'll also do...
What would you do exactly?
How will we do is that, remember, this is supposed to be a provincial, a provincial competency. So that money that is actually supposed to be coming from the municipality, will make sure that it's coming from province, and we will then rechannel the money in the municipality towards service delivery. We'll channel that money towards cleaning the dam in Temba, so that the people of Hammanskraal can get clean water. We'll make sure that there is a proper maintenance plan, which will see the EPWP workers fixing all the leaking taps, fixing all the pipes that are there in the city, and also to make sure that we invest in creating hubs and we're creating hubs that will also see young people coming out of rehab going straight into those into those hubs and getting a skill and getting themselves employed and getting themselves into jobs and getting themselves into businesses. That's what we will do.
Mr. Ndlozi?
The only thing working in the city of Tshwane is corruption. That is what is working in the city. It is the capacity of the ANC elite to constantly create for themselves opportunities to eat out of our people. That's what's working here. A lot of our people in the townships, if they've been given water, they can't pay for it. If they've been given electricity, they can't pay for it. And therefore they suffer in most of the cases in that those electricity and water in most of the cases gets to be switched off. It's embarrassing. I find it very hard that people come here and they celebrate EPWP as a job that they've created. I mean, to even conceptualize something called job opportunity, it's actually an intellectual dishonesty. Now, the mayor says that the 10 biggest economies in the world are not based on mining or on minerals, but they were. As they began, they were. Industrialization, the very birth of industry, was about digging the ground and getting gold in America, in parts of Canada, and so on and so forth. They've advanced as a result. And that's what you've got to respect about those economies. One, they had high tariffs to protect local manufacturers. Two, they made sure that they give not ANC-related people, the actual people who have been running spaza shops for the past 30 years, they don't know any support of investment from the city. The people that have been running sewing machines, that have been doing a lot of economic activities in the townships, they don't know anything from this city.
Mr. Alberts, what's working for you?
So the biggest thing that you've got to do is to bring opportunities to them.
Thank you for you. What the Freedom Front Plus will not do better in the city is corruption. We will get rid of corruption because that leaking pipeline makes money disappear that must go to people who need service delivery. We will appoint people on merit, and we will ensure that some of the SEZ projects that are failing at the moment are actually fixed, like the Aerospace Centre that is not working at the moment. So we will liaise with national government to make sure that they actually do work. And we will make sure that there's more foreign investment coming into the city as well. There's many people out there are looking to diversify their portfolios, but foreign investment is not taking place as it should in the city. And we will make this city safer. Like I said before, the Metro Police will not just be hiding behind the bush and writing tickets, but they will actually be protecting people's lives.
Well, let me make the point that it's unfortunate that Mr. Msimanga has there's no comprehension of municipal governance. I mean, in the first instance, the provision of connectivity, the provision of free Wi-Fi is not a provincial function. Local government can discharge that function because it relates to economic development. We have already started the War on Leaks program, have recruited over 200 youngsters in the areas of Mamelodi so that we are able to deal with what we call non-revenue water. What are we going to do? These are the three main things that are going to elevate the economy of our city so that we are able to ensure that we maintain our unassailable position as the most resilient economy of all metros. One is to invest in research and development. Two is to research in agro-business and agriculture. And thirdly is to invest in tourism. And in this way, we'll be able to drive the economy of the city into the next millennium.
Well, if some of the polls and some of the predictions are anything to go by, it is going to be a tight race between the ANC and the rest of you. Something I want to ask you. Would you go, the three of you, get into a coalition if that opportunity presented itself?
Well, for you, let me make this very clear. The DA is in this to win it. We are in this to win it. We will not compromise our policies, will not compromise our belief. If anybody wants to come and partner with us, it should be on a principle basis of freedom, fairness, and opportunity that will be delivered to the people of this city. And that's where our point is.
Ask the ANC first.
I'm asking you.
Well, look, I know that the mayor knows he's not coming back. He's on a confession to say that he's not coming back. He's also, I'm told he went to see a priest to actually confess that they've done so much badness. They've fought amongst each other so much that they know that they are not coming back. Now, the EFF believes absolutely that in an instance where we are unable to get an outright majority in order to win, it is not going to be about the EFF. We are willing as the EFF because we love the people of South Africa than we love ourselves. We will be willing to enter into conversation not about what the EFF in the main wants, but about what the people of Tshwane want. We will go and conduct sessions in different communities to ask the people, who should we vote for? Who should be the mayor? And so on and so forth. We will be willing to put up our vote for a person in the city who have said that we're on record on the basis of an annual target, on the basis of the people's demands, particularly black and poor people. But I know for a fact, as the mayor knows, the ANC is out.
It's out.
It's out. It's over. It's over. So I'll suggest that they be humble. I'll suggest that they be humble.
Mr. Alberts?
It is very likely that the ANC will get below 50% in this election. And it's their own fault because they've had 21 years to do the job and the people have grown tired of them. But there will be a division of vote between various parties. And we will, as a party, we will judge which other parties will be participating in that proposed coalition. And if our value system and our economic policies have a fit there, then we will be part of it. If there's no fit there, then we will stay in opposition and serve our people's interest in opposition. But one day we know that 2016, the ANC will very, very likely not be coming back into power in this city.
Well, the fact before I let you speak, there's something I can't resist. I need to ask the two of you that can you ever be in a coalition government, the two of you together?
The EFF is the leader in terms of the conception of the future. We are the first ones to say
would you go with
have
them?
to be prepared to participate in a people-driven coalition, not a party-driven coalition. If we need to even fetch the best mayor that does not even belong to the rest of us here, who will be able to govern in the interest of the people. We love South Africa than we love the EFF.
I thought your policies were.
But I'll suggest the ANC be a bit much more humble, you know? They're gone, these people.
Considering where the EFF is coming from at the moment and their actions towards minorities, that we will not be able to sit next to them in the same government unless there's a change in attitude from their side. So it might be, because we will be growing stronger in the city, that they will not be able to form a government without us. And that means there must be a change of attitude towards treating everybody equally, including minorities in this country.
These ones are not a player. I am not a player, Chief.
The fact that they are mooting or even suggesting that there could be a coalition amongst the three of them, it's an admission that they will not win. So that's the admission.
I told you we're going to win. We are in it to win it.
The second part is Mr. Ndlozi. Mr. Ndlozi says the following. Mr. Ndlozi says the following. He says the ANC won't come back. Yes, we won't come back because we are not going. We are here, we will remain doing a governing part. So I want to say the following, that indeed our people have said the following to us, that you need to humble yourself, acknowledge where there are deficits, and ensure that you consolidate areas of strength, that you are the most reliable, dependable leader of this city. And we are confident that we are coming back. August the 4th, the ANC will be a government in the capital city of Tshwane.
Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us this evening. That, unfortunately, is where we are going to leave it. Do join us again next week, same time.
News Today provide news updates giving a wealth of knowledge. Breaking stories and crossing live for you. We follow business developments intensely.